2016 Trump-Russia collusion saga is apparently not over. Sources tell Fox News Digital that ex-FBI Director James Comey and former CIA Director John Brennan are now under investigation for alleged criminal conduct relating to the Trump-Russia probe.
Regarding Brennan, the investigation involves allegations that he made false statements to Congress, the sources told Fox. It's unclear, however, if the investigation expands beyond that.
As for Comey, the specific elements of the investigation into him are still somewhat unclear. The source told Fox News the role the two played in the Russia probe was a conspiracy. Last week, the New York Post reported on a CIA review of the, quote, lessons they learned about the Russia probe. The Post writes, in the missive, Brennan insisted that the discredited Steele dossier be included, despite strong pushback from the CIA's two most senior Russia experts, who said it did not even meet the most basic tradecraft standards. The Post continues, another CIA official warned him that including the dossier risked the credibility of the entire paper, but Brennan formalized his position in writing, stating that my bottom line is I believe the information warrants inclusion in the report.
The CIA's report also alleges that Comey was involved in drafting the Russia-Trump assessment and pushed to include the Steele dossier in it. In May 2017, Brennan claimed while testifying to Congress that the Steele dossier was not part of the, quote, corpus of intelligence information we had. And according to a transcript obtained by Fox News, Brennan told the House Judiciary Committee in May 2023, quote, the CIA was very much opposed to having any reference or inclusion of the Steele dossier in the intelligence community assessment. And so they sent over a copy of the dossier to say that this was going to be separate from the rest of that assessment.
Now, the Justice Department Inspector General and Senate Intelligence Committee both found that Steele's reporting was not included in the body of the final assessment for then-President Obama, but as a footnote, the Steele dossier notoriously had very salacious claims about Trump, including details he engaged in acts with Russian prostitutes, that there was no additional subsequent reporting that it was correct. So this is a little bit complicated.
Really?
The situation is that, according to these reports, that kind of behind the scenes, Brennan particularly, maybe Comey, the Comey part is a little less clear, but Brennan pushed for the consideration of the Steele dossier in their report on the Trump-Russia probe, even though others at the CIA said, we don't think this information is reliable, but he was really strenuous that it be included. And then where they're going to possibly have criminal charges is that he later, subsequently, before Congress or in a committee hearing, said, no, actually, that was not good intel, and I was not for including it. So it's going to be a kind of perjury-esque situation where what you said later contradicts your actual actions. Not that the actual actions would have been necessarily criminal, but what you said about them later. Now, for anyone listening goes, well, that seems like a kind of weak justification for a prosecution. I would say, like, okay, but people like Brennan and Comey, the intelligence and law enforcement, they crucify people for exactly that kind of thing all the time. So I'm always a little bit like, what?
Like who?
Like, are you kidding? Perjury, and I'm not saying just like for political reasons, but if they can't get you on the underlying crime, you go to jail for obstruction of justice or perjury. This is what happened to Michael Flynn, Martha Stewart, and on and on and on. It's not the actual thing, it's that then they talked to law enforcement or someone on the record and say, oops, you just contradicted a statement you said previously, now we gotcha. So when this gets used on them, I'm playing a very tiny violin here.
Well, Michael Flynn lied to the FBI about an investigation, did he not?
Right, exactly. Yeah, he misled. He, in a long interrogation that he did not know was that they were after him for anything, he made statements to people in an informal setting. He wasn't brought in for formal questioning that contradicted things they already knew, and so they prosecuted him for that basis. That's exactly what they're trying to do to Brennan here. That something he said to Congress now contradicts something he said in this report previously, and so they've got him. It's the same thing.
Yeah, well, do they have him is one big question for a start. The thing about this is, let's see the evidence. If there is genuine evidence of this, then by all means, go ahead. But one of the suspicions I have here is the timing of it. You and I were talking just a few moments ago about the way that people like Pam Bondi and other people in the Justice Department have egg on their faces because of the Epstein thing. And not only on partisan lines, it has outraged a lot of MAGA influencers, let's say, and a lot of the MAGA base. When they're under that pressure suddenly and miraculously, a story is leaked to Fox News that they're really going after two guys that the MAGA base hates in Brennan and Comey. Now, Fox got the headline. I mean, I think it was a well-written story, but the headline was like, there's criminal investigations into these guys. In the 19th paragraph, it talks about how Brennan testified that the CIA wanted the Steele dossier, quote, separate from the rest of that assessment. And in the 21st paragraph, it says, ultimately, Steele's reporting was not included in the body of the final ICA. It was used as a footnote. So, at the very best, that is hair-splitting about what separate from the rest of the assessment means. Then in James Comey's case, there is literally nothing. There is a source unnamed saying to Fox News they're investigating James Comey for unnamed deeds. So you have a DOJ under pressure from the Trump base that has decided that it is going to investigate John Brennan for, at best, a very fine semantic point, and investigate James Comey for stuff. Trust me, bro, of prosecutions.
I mean, I can't evaluate the James Comey one until I know more of what the underlying basis is.
Yeah, because none of us know. Well, none of us can.
Well, I'm not saying throw them in jail on a mere accusation, but these are tactics that law enforcement uses against, I'm not even talking about in a political sense, just against citizens and against people who stupidly talk to the police without consulting an attorney first. This happens time and time again. People, everyone from Daniel Penny was the most recent example. That I know you're not tremendously sympathetic to the individual, but he has no idea that they're interested in charging him with anything, and so he's talking to the police for a long period of time. Never do this.
We
Never do this.
We agree
Consult
on that point.
a lawyer. Shut the F up. Say nothing. Talk to an attorney. Have you ever seen this? It's a famous YouTube video. I rewatch it every now and then by James Duane. He's a law professor on why you should never, under any circumstances, talk to the police. Don't do it. If you want to be a good citizen and you have important information you want to transmit to the authorities, you do that, you mediate that through an attorney. Everything you say can and will be used against you, but cannot be used for you. In your defense, it can never help you. You don't know what they're interested in. That's kind of a side matter. So anyway, I don't want to lock people up for mere technicalities or stupid little trivialities, so we'll see if there's more to it, but it seems relevant to me that...
Does the timing not give you any pause? Given that we were just talking, your radar...
Yeah, I guess, but this is the problem, right? Because the law is so vast, there's so many criminal statutes, we're all violating the law in so many ways we don't understand. It is always possible to pursue charges against someone for something, and you can do that on a political basis, but still have like an underlying justification for doing so. I would argue for Trump in the campaign finance issue, right? There's an example where they pursued him for something that would not necessarily be considered criminal, or if a different person did it, it might not have been escalated to federal charges. So is them doing it political, even though technically you could make an argument for why it did violate the law? It is political, but also there was probably some validity to it, but then it's unfair because they didn't do it to anyone else. You know what I mean? You come away with a frustrating morass of difficulty and mixed motivations. But we'll see.
We shall see.
There's more to this.
See how it goes. Talking of law in a different matter, SCOTUS is siding with President Trump on the mass firings of government workers, while Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson calls the move a wrecking ball. Stay with us.